Baton Rouge is known for its raw sound, real stories, and some of the most influential street rap to ever come out of the South. But behind the music, the fame, and the viral moments, there's a darker reality that keeps repeating itself. Too many voices from Baton Rouge never got the chance to reach their full potential. Rappers who turned pain into music, who spoke on survival, loyalty, and street life, only to become victims of the same violence they rapped about. This isn't about glorifying the streets. This is about remembering the lives lost, the talent cut short, and the cycle of violence that continues to haunt Baton Rouge's hip-hop scene. In this video we're taking a deeper look at Baton Rouge rappers whose lives ended too soon, and the tragic stories behind the music. June 23, 2015, officials confirmed 2 people, including a Baton Rouge rapper, were killed in a shooting on Tuesday afternoon. One victim is Young Reddy, whose real name is Shannon Hudson. He would have turned 32 years old on July 8, 2015. The second victim is 28-year-old Gyron Stevenson of Baton Rouge. Reddy's music was the voice of the streets of Louisiana and other areas. The shooting happened in Bogalusa just before 3:30 p.m. The Bogalusa Police Department is investigating. Officials would only say that it happened within city limits on the north side of town. The Washington Parish Coroner's Office reported 1 victim died from a single gunshot wound and the second died of multiple gunshot wounds.
On the afternoon of June 23, 2015, the usually quiet city limits road in Bogalusa transformed into a sprawling crime scene after 2 men were found in a car, both shot in the back of the head. Those men turned out to be from Baton Rouge, 31-year-old Shannon Hudson, known as upcoming rapper Young Reddy, and 28-year-old Gyron Stevenson, a father of 2 boys and a little girl.
Young Reddy owned and operated his own record label, Bow Entertainment. Away from the spotlight, Shannon Hudson was more than his stage persona. His mother described him as a son who defied the tough guy image portrayed in his music. Behind the lyrics and beats lay a man who navigated the intricacies of life, striving for growth and self-discovery. The loss of Young Reddy reverberates through the music community, leaving behind a void that cannot be filled. His legacy extends beyond his discography. It resides in the hearts of those who found solace and inspiration in his words. As we mourn his passing, let us remember Young Reddy not only as a talented artist but as a beacon of resilience in the face of adversity. Keandre Ricks, better known as Brazilla or NBA Boozy, was an aspiring Baton Rouge rapper from the bottom of the South Side. He is known for being the cousin of NBA Youngboy and NBA Michi Baby and also a close friend to BBG Baby Joe. Brazilla used to hit licks such as run in houses, break in cars, and rob drug dealers. He was also known for sliding on his enemies in the streets. In 2015, Brazilla and Youngboy fell out over a female. This beef didn't last long and nothing happened behind it and was eventually squashed. Brazilla allegedly shot up a couple FL gang members' houses. This led to someone putting a hit out on him. On November 2, 2016, Brazilla would be shot to death in the south side of Baton Rouge. This murder would spark retaliation shootings from BBG and NBA. Trayshawn Coates was arrested for the murder of Brazilla. NBA Youngboy would go on to pay tribute to Brazilla, who called himself NBA Boozy, sometimes in his music. Lorenzo Dixon, aka Zoe Riala, was a well-known rapper in the Baton Rouge area. He had a beautiful smile that sparkled like diamonds, literally. Like other rappers, Lorenzo had $25,000 worth of diamonds permanently bonded to his teeth. Those who knew him described him as genuine, a good guy with a big heart. He was known for having cookouts and paying for everything so family and friends could eat and hang out together. Someone took him away from those who loved him, including his 2 young sons. It was Saturday, April 22, 2017, and snowball season was just around the corner. With temperatures reaching 88 degrees, it was a hot day. The local snowball stand was open for business, ready to serve those trying to cool off. Around 2 p.m., Lorenzo Dixon pulled up to the parking lot at 4149 Winborn Avenue in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Some say he was there to wash his car, others say he was lured there by a friend who knew what would happen to him that day. Whatever the reason, many lives were about to be changed forever. At the nearby Snowball stand, an employee said she heard about 8 gunshots. Witnesses said several masked individuals pulled up to the business in a gray Chevy Impala and started firing on Lorenzo. He was struck multiple times but still managed to get out of the car and onto the pavement. That's when they began firing at him again, at close range. Lorenzo was rushed to the hospital but would pass away from his injuries 6 days later. A witness claimed a man named Dexter Collins admitted that he was paid by Martrell Harris, an alleged drug kingpin, to shoot and kill Lorenzo Dixon and Gyron Lebu. Gyron is allegedly the person who lured Lorenzo to the crime scene and was also present when he was shot. However, a witness saw an argument between Dexter and another man named Patrick Carter. Dexter was mad at Patrick for not shooting and killing Gyron as he was shooting Lorenzo. Rapper and actor featured in the violent video, Thuggin' It and Lovin' It, was murdered in September 2017. Investigators said Warren Jackson, also known as Rambo, was killed after an argument with Randy Orange. In 2009, Jackson was featured in a violent video that had the community in an uproar. Thuggin' It and Lovin' It featured big guns, what appeared to be drugs and bad behavior on the streets of Baton Rouge. It was 2009 or so that several different versions of Thuggin' It and Lovin' It were holding weapons, whether they were actual weapons or staged weapons. It painted Baton Rouge in a bad light. Laryl Rout is the owner of Millionaire Entertainment. That's the company that put out the videos. Rout says the death of his actor proves there's a problem. He's no longer producing them. That's what stopped me from making the DVDs. Rout says he now recognizes the videos he released did very little to help the Baton Rouge area. Jackson's murder came as the latest in a string of crimes that have kept law enforcement on their toes. Even though the videos Rambo was featured in back in 2009 appear to show that Baton Rouge was full of crime, what was showcased in the video has no connection to what we're seeing now. In 2009, the video portrayed Baton Rouge as having organized groups committing crimes. Today, Moore says our area is seeing more murders from drugs and domestic violence.
Stopped me from making those DVDs. I felt like I was contributing to the nonsense that was going on in the area instead of helping it out.
Rout says he now recognizes the videos he released did very little to help the Baton Rouge area.
Instead of just tearing down the community, I'm trying to make it to where, you kind of outgrow stuff. Thuggin' and Lovin' It, I didn't outgrow it. That was 5 years. I haven't dropped one since. I have a lot of people ask me when I'm gonna drop another one, but I just don't see no reason to keep the nonsense going on.
Jackson's murder the latest in a string of crimes that have kept law enforcement and others on their toes. Even though the videos Rambo was featured in back in 2009 appear to show that Baton Rouge was full of crime,
told y'all, man, look, it ain't a game.
what was showcased in that video has no connection to what we're seeing now, according to District Attorney Hiller Moore.
Makes it a little more difficult.
In 2009, the video portrayed Baton Rouge as having organized groups committing crimes. Today, Moore says our area is seeing more murders from drugs and domestic violence.
G-Money emerged in the mid-2010s as part of the New Era movement. He built a strong buzz independently, without major label backing. Songs like Take It There, Industry, and Jack Who showcased his ability to blend melody with street realism. Fans connected with his honesty. He wasn't pretending to be something he wasn't. In Baton Rouge, G-Money was viewed as next up. Someone who could take the city's sound to a national level. But Baton Rouge rap isn't just music, it's deeply connected to real street divisions. G-Money became publicly involved in a high-profile rap beef with NBA YoungBoy. What started as musical tension reflected deeper neighborhood and street issues. Diss tracks, social media posts, and online exchanges fueled the fire. Fans watched closely, but behind the scenes, things were far more serious than rap. In Baton Rouge, beef doesn't always stay in the booth. On September 10, 2017, G Money's life was cut short. At just 22 years old, he was shot and killed outside a recording studio in Baton Rouge. The news sent shockwaves through the city and the hip-hop community. Baton Rouge rapper, The Real G Money, killed in the early morning hours. Authorities say G Money of Baton Rouge was located by officers in the parking lot, suffering from apparent gunshot injuries. Burton died on the scene. Another talented voice silenced. Another young artist who never got the chance to fully shine. Louis Robinson Jr., also known as Louis Badazz, was an underground rapper from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, a city known for producing raw talent but also for the violence that has taken the lives of many young artists. His story is one of ambition, struggle, and an ending that remains unresolved. Louis Badazz never reached mainstream fame, but he developed a local following through music shared on YouTube and social media. His sound reflected Baton Rouge's aggressive rap culture, heavy beats, direct lyrics, and emotional honesty. Within Baton Rouge's underground scene, Louis Badazz was known and respected. His name circulated among other local rappers, and supporters believed he was still developing his sound. Like many artists from the city, he was building momentum slowly, without industry backing. Unfortunately, his rise was stopped before it could fully begin. On May 2, 2018, Louis Badazz was shot in broad daylight on Cadillac Street near Plank Road in Baton Rouge. Police were called to the scene around 3:45 p.m. He was transported to a nearby hospital, where he died about an hour later from his gunshot wounds. The fact that the shooting happened in the middle of the day shocked many people. Despite the public location, details about how the shooting happened were never fully released. Authorities confirmed the homicide but did not publicly identify a suspect or motive. As time passed, the case grew cold. In August 2018, during an NBA YoungBoy concert at Terminal 6 in Austin, Texas, a tragic incident occurred involving one of his affiliates. Aquantis Griffin, a 21-year-old rapper from Baton Rouge, was shot and killed by Austin police officers. According to reports, Griffin was involved in a confrontation outside the venue, during which shots were fired. When officers arrived at the scene, they observed Griffin running toward them with a firearm. Despite commands to drop the weapon, officers opened fire, resulting in Griffin's death. Following this incident, NBA YoungBoy expressed his grief and indicated that Griffin had traveled to Austin to support him. The event left a lasting impact on YoungBoy, leading him to avoid performing in Austin for several years. A grand jury decided not to indict multiple officers who shot Griffin. They believe the officers acted in self-defense, but Griffin's parents think otherwise. They believe the police continued firing shots while Griffin was on the ground with his head facing down. Griffin's family filed a wrongful death lawsuit against the city of Austin and officers involved, alleging excessive force and disputing key aspects of the police account.
We start tonight with this Baton Rouge man dead after 8 police officers fired their weapons at him. Police say the man was running toward them with a gun. This happened outside of a concert in Austin, Texas. News 2's Bess Castley live in studio tonight with how all this unfolded.
Yeah, Michael, Aquantis Griffin's family did not want to go on camera, but said they have received very little information about his death, having to find out about it on social media, where it turns out there's a lot to see.
Man, quit pumping that man dead, man.
Hundreds of videos, from cell phone to body cam, documented a night of violence outside a concert in Austin, Texas, where a Baton Rouge man holding a gun was killed by police.
The officer-involved shooting, as well as other incidents, were all captured on footage tonight.
The man killed is identified as 21-year-old Aquantis Griffin. The concert was for NBA YoungBoy, a rapper from Baton Rouge.
From early on, Marley G showed promise. His music reflected the reality around him: street pressure, ambition, loyalty, and survival. He wasn't a mainstream star yet, but he had momentum, especially online, where his songs began circulating through social media and YouTube. What made Marley G stand out was his connection to Rap-A-Lot Records, a legendary Southern label that helped launch artists like Scarface. Being associated with Rap-A-Lot signaled that Marley G was being taken seriously and had potential to break through on a larger scale. For a young artist from Baton Rouge, that opportunity alone was significant. However, like many artists from the city, Marley G's rise happened against a backdrop of constant violence. Baton Rouge has long struggled with street conflicts that often spill into the music industry. Rap beefs, affiliations, and personal disputes frequently overlap, making it hard for artists to separate music from real-life danger. Tragically, in October 2018, Marley G's life was cut short. He was shot and killed during a nightclub shooting in Louisiana. Reports confirmed he was only around 20 years old at the time of his death. The shooting shocked fans and members of the hip-hop community, especially those who believed Marley G was just getting started. Details surrounding the incident remain limited, but his death added his name to a growing list of young rappers lost to gun violence. Social media quickly filled with tributes from fans and fellow artists, many expressing frustration that another promising life and career ended far too soon. Rapper Ashton Wells, better known as Boulevard Quick, was killed near his apartment complex on the 25th of November 2018. The 25-year-old, from Baton Rouge, was a G-Money and Fredo Bang affiliate. He also reportedly had a feud with rapper NBA Youngboy. Boulevard Quick was found dead just after midnight near his Lakeside Villa Apartments building. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Boulevard Quick was active on his Instagram account promoting a new song with Fredo Bang the day before his fatal shooting. The music video was released a couple of hours before his death. The shooting may have been related to an ongoing rap beef in the Baton Rouge hip-hop scene. Quick dissed Youngboy on various songs, even dissing his mom on social media. Youngboy's mom responded back until the passing of Quick. Most fans believe the war between TBG and the NBA camp caused Quick's death. Gyron Lebu, a 17-year-old from Baton Rouge, used the stage name Gyron Bang and was described in local coverage as an aspiring rapper and athlete. He posted music and photos online under that name before he was fatally shot in 2020. Gyron Lebu was fatally shot near the Mall of Louisiana on February 8, 2020. He was taken to a hospital after the shooting in the 10100 block of Grove Avenue and later died from his injuries. Inman Street, 15, Frederick Tate, 16, and Bradley Payne, 14, are facing charges related to the killing of Gyron Lebu. The three boys were booked into juvenile jail on second-degree murder charges. They all appeared in juvenile court. Hearings for Tate and Street were delayed due to issues with finding attorneys. Payne's hearing went on, as planned, and a bond was set at $30,000. During the hearings, a police officer said Baton Rouge police dispatched a helicopter soon after reports of a shooting on the Grove Avenue, a street near the Mall of Louisiana featuring businesses and high-end apartments. The officer said witnesses reported that a group of 3 teenagers was asking for rides out of the area after the shooting. The group became somewhat suspect to witnesses, and police used a helicopter and video surveillance from stores to identify and follow their movements in the area. Witnesses say Byron had a fight with one of the teenagers, and all 3 came back, but 2 of them shot him. He caught a face shot, too.
Good evening. We begin tonight with the 3 juveniles arrested in the killing of a 17-year-old. Gyron Lebu was shot to death near the Mall of Louisiana last Saturday. Deputies are still trying to determine which of the suspects did the shooting. News 2's Sydney Curran joins us now with more on what led to the crime.
Sylvia, deputies say the victim and suspects were, quote, ready to fight when they first saw each other near the mall. In the end, 13 shots were fired from 2 guns, 5 hitting Gyron Lebu.
New details surrounding a violent crime that happened here around 7:15 Saturday night. 14-year-old Bradley Payne, 15-year-old Iman Street, and 16-year-old Frederick Tate, all facing second-degree murder charges linked to the shooting death of Gyron Lebu.
To me, it was planned. It was premeditated. They tried to kill my little cousin. They went to kill my cousin, and they killed him.
All three suspects were found in the woods feet away from two guns after BRPD tracked the teens using air support. Detectives are waiting on DNA testing to find out who used those two guns. A third was found near the victim, Lebu, after he was rushed to the hospital, but it had not been fired.
Rayful Matta, Jr., known by his stage name, Rambo and later, Rambo K, was murdered in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, on the 5500 block of McClellan Drive on Saturday, April 3, 2021, at around 6 p.m. He was only 34 years old. Matta was moving around toward a convenience store's front entrance when a gunshot struck him. 12 days later, on April 15, a 16 and 17-year-old teens were arrested by the Louisiana State Police Task Force, as well as the Attorney General Fugitive Apprehension. The teens were later booked into juvenile detention, where they were charged with both second-degree murder and illegally using a weapon. Matta was born on August 21, 1986, representing the 80s babies in our 30s clique. Matta was a native of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Matta caught the attention of Black Balloon Baton Rouger, Ray Vicks. Matta started his rap career off by going by just Rambo, collaborating with Vicks on his 2010 release, 36 OS later. Matta kept his reputation in the streets going from Baton Rouge and even throughout other coasts, collaborating with Baton Rouge's then Lil Boozy, Kane Music Mafia and Zoe Riala. The Baton Rouge Police Department has responded to a double shooting on Airline Highway that resulted in the death of one person and the injury of another. Officials state that the shooting occurred at the Holiday Inn in the 9990 block of Airline Highway. 23-year-old Malika Demolan died at the scene. Malika Demolan was fatally shot in a double shooting incident in Baton Rouge in October 2021. The shooting occurred in the parking lot of the Holiday Inn on Airline Highway in Baton Rouge. Police responded around 9 a.m., and Demolan was pronounced dead at the scene. A second victim, a woman, was injured and taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening wounds. Authorities recovered at least one firearm at the scene, but no arrests were immediately reported at the time, and the investigation details remained limited publicly. The shooting might have been gang-related. It seems Demolan was part of a gang of young men who called themselves SOG, Stand Over Gang. They are affiliated with the TBG, Top Guerrilla Gang.
Baton Rouge police need your help finding the person responsible for a deadly shooting on Airline Highway this morning. It all happened around 9 a.m. in the Holiday Inn parking lot. Police say 23-year-old Malika Demolan died on the scene. A woman was also shot but is expected to survive. The shooting pushes Baton Rouge past its homicide record set just last year.
Truebleeda, aka Dante Dorsey, was an up-and-coming rapper from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Truebleeda, 18, was known for his songs, Hood Rich, Check My Jacket and Trouble Soul. During his short career, Truebleeda attained close to 3,000 monthly listens on Spotify in addition to millions of views on his YouTube channel. The rapper was regarded as one of the brightest stars in the Louisiana hip-hop scene. Truebleeda was killed alongside another person in a shooting close to the Mall of Louisiana on the afternoon of February 25, 2022. His death came just 4 weeks after his 18th birthday. WAFB in Baton Rouge named the other person killed as Clifton Lindsay, 19. 2 other people were injured in the attack. They were treated in a local hospital. Police of the Baton Rouge Police Department described the shooting as highly planned and targeted. The individuals inside the car were targeted. Some situations are happening in Baton Rouge with individuals having issues and rival groups that are committing violence against one another.
The thing that we know so far is that, again, they are investigating this shooting. By the time that I made it out here, we did notice Chief Murphy Paul and District Attorney Hillamore. They are on the scene right now, and again, this is a very active scene, still trying to get more details to try to figure out what exactly happened. Again, this was called out about around an hour ago, and we did get the chance to speak to one man who was leaving the mall as soon as minutes after the shooting happened, and he described to me as that this was a very chaotic scene, and in fact he says that he has never seen Baton Rouge this bad before. Again, this is a developing story, and more details of this, more details. And again, this is standing right outside the Bacardi exit. The Old Sears is right next to it, and also right next to the J. Alexander's restaurant, so that you can get a better look and sense of, again, where exactly this is, directly across the street from BRG. And again, this is a developing story, and we will have more.
News of another rapper slaying in Louisiana has made headlines. A rapper named 77 Hardaway, real name Stanley Wright, was gunned down at an apartment complex on Tuesday, September 20th, 2022. Wright was reportedly also affiliated with the Top Boy guerrilla crew, who police stated had been involved in a purported street war that had resulted in ongoing violence. Wright was a known affiliate of rapper Fredo Bang, as the Baton Rouge pair had collaborated in the past. Investigators did say that they believed the shooting was a targeted, gang-related attack. When people responded to the scene, Wright was reportedly found deceased in the complex's parking lot. The shooting happened around 8 p.m. at Sherwood Place Apartments, just off Coursey Boulevard. The East Baton Rouge Sheriff's Office said the victim, 33-year-old Stanley Wright, was found dead in the parking lot. The department said that deputies suspect Wright was specifically targeted in the shooting. Several photos showed Wright alongside well-known Baton Rouge rappers Lit Yoshi and Fredo Bang, who also have ties to the group and have been linked to a violent ongoing feud that's resulted in multiple shootings. Baton Rouge is one of the most dangerous cities in America, but it's also home to one of the realest rap scenes in hip-hop. Du Gang Chop was an underground Baton Rouge rapper connected to the streets of Baton Rouge. He wasn't a mainstream name, but in his area, people knew exactly who he was. Like many local artists, Chop used music as a way to speak on his environment, violence, loyalty, betrayal, and survival. His name, Du Gang, wasn't just branding. It represented street affiliation, identity, and the circle he came. He dropped music mainly on YouTube and social media, which was the main route for Baton Rouge rappers without industry backing. While he never signed a major deal, people around him believed he had momentum and potential. To fans, Chop's music felt real, because it was. He wasn't rapping a character. He was rapping his life. In Baton Rouge, the line between rap and real life is extremely thin. Du Gang Chop's lyrics, affiliations, and presence made him a target, just like many artists before him. In a city where music can escalate street beef instead of just documenting it, visibility often comes with consequences. For Chop, the streets didn't separate him from the music, they followed him everywhere. In January 2023, Du Gang Chop was shot and killed at a nightclub in Houston. His death sent shockwaves through his neighborhood and local rap circles. Details surrounding the shooting were limited publicly, but it was believed to be street-related gun violence, a tragic pattern seen again and again in Baton Rouge.
Harris County Sheriff Ed Gonzalez says deputies responded to the call near FM 1960 and Greenwood Forest Drive around 2 a.m. When they arrived outside the Touch Lounge in Northwest Houston, they found 5 people shot, 3 women and 2 men. All were transported to the hospital where one of the men died.
There were multiple people inside the vehicle, exited the vehicle and began opening fire upon the patrons that were outside of the club at the time.
Investigators say the suspects were wearing ski masks at the time of the shooting. We asked Sheriff Gonzalez if investigators believe this was a targeted attack.
If the information is correct that somebody exited from a vehicle and began opening fire, then I mean that's probably a good indicator that they were coming with purpose.
At least 4 cars and a food truck in the parking lot were also hit by the gunfire.
On April 18, 2023, 2 people died after they reportedly shot each other in a neighborhood near Greenwell Street. The shooting was reported on Denova Street shortly before 2 p.m. The East Baton Rouge Sheriff's Office said both men fled the scene and later showed up at a hospital. Witnesses claimed the two started shooting after they got into an argument. The men were identified as Stephen Brown and Ray Griffin. Griffin, also known as Teflon Webby, was an aspiring rapper from the Baton Rouge area. Neighbors say the two men were good friends who hung out together all the time. Both died in the afternoon the following day after the shooting. Neighbors say both men were a part of a local gang and have previously pleaded guilty to criminal charges. Griffin was arrested 3 years ago on attempted murder and attempted armed robbery charges. Court records say he was identified as being part of a group of 3 men who tried to rob another group of 3 men at an apartment complex on Greenwell Springs Road. One of the victims was shot in the foot in the encounter. Investigators indicated in court that victims had inconsistent and conflicting accounts of what happened, and the victim who was shot provided a defense lawyer with a sworn statement that the whole thing had been a misunderstanding and that he did not want to press charges. Griffin was never identified as the shooter in that crime. He ultimately pleaded guilty to 2 counts of attempted aggravated assault and was sentenced to 2 6-month terms to be served consecutively. Brown was arrested in February 2020 after allegedly shooting at a house with 4 people inside and a vehicle with no people inside. No one was injured. He was charged as a felon in possession of a firearm. He ultimately pleaded guilty to second-degree battery and attempted felon in possession of a firearm.
We have a news alert tonight. The East Baton Rouge Sheriff's Office is investigating a deadly shooting off of DeNova Street this afternoon. The Sheriff's Office spokesperson tells us 21-year-old Ray Griffin and 29-year-old Stephen Brown were both taken to the hospital but later died from their injuries. Deputies do not have a suspect at this time.
Harley Ken is an underground hip-hop artist associated with the Baton Rouge music scene, known for collaborations with other local artists on SoundCloud-hosted tracks. Harley Ken appeared on several Baton Rouge rap tracks, often alongside artists like Scotty Kane, Bird, and others in tracks such as Bootin' Up and On Da Muscle. These tracks are part of the grassroots SoundCloud rap scene that grew in Baton Rouge in the 2010s. His work is rooted in Southern hip-hop and reflects the local underground vibe of Baton Rouge's rap culture, gritty, street-oriented, and collaborative with peers in the area. A 16-year-old was arrested in connection with a shooting that left the 36-year-old rapper dead. Police confirmed the teenager was arrested and booked into the East Baton Rouge Juvenile Detention Center for second-degree murder on Thursday, February 15, 2024. The victim, identified as Harley Ken, whose real name is George Johnson, was shot and killed on Sunday, January 2024. Since then, detectives say they were able to develop probable cause for an arrest warrant. Johnson was shot in the 4800 block of Evangeline Street near North Foster Drive just before 7 p.m. Harley Ken was part of the Baton Rouge gang called the Bleedas, who have been at war with the Vultures. Police believe the shooting might have been gang-related. Before we wrap this up, let's remember that behind every name and headline was a real person, someone with talent, dreams, family, and a future that was cut short. The violence surrounding Baton Rouge rap isn't just part of the music, it's a reflection of deeper struggles that continue to claim lives too soon. If we're going to honor these artists, it shouldn't just be by replaying their songs, but by acknowledging the lessons in their stories and pushing for change so the next generation can thrive without fear. Rest in peace to the fallen, and respect to the voices that tried to tell their truth through music. If you found this video meaningful, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know who you think deserves their story told next.